Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing today? Um, First off, we I kind of logged out from the last Game of Thrones finale video. I was kind of listening to myself give my opinions right after I finished that episode. So, this is going to be a fun ride. Um, My goodness. I'm really excited to get into the discussion. Just a quick heads up. I I finished the show about um I don't even know. There's been so much going on in my life and my mental state and my emotional, just everything. Time goes by all over the place for me. Um I should probably check if it has ended also. Okay. Let me check really quick just before we start, because we've got a lot to talk about today, eh? Yeah, let's say about a month, right? That seems right. That seems correct. Let me see. Did I finish? Did I finish speaking? Okay, I did. All right. I'm gonna wait to see if we have a couple of YouTube people coming in before we start. But again, just a quick heads up. I finished this show about a month and a half. I can't remember truthfully. That's why I also wanted to be in the chat itself for the drop of the finale, because we've moved on to a lot of different things after we've finished Game of Thrones. So now we're here. I'm excited and very nervous. Also, I haven't read all of the questions just because I think I read a few of the first ones. We've had the questions come from Discord, people from Patreon, and I have it all written down on a Google Drive from Habits. Thank you, Habits. So I will be having that open on the screen right before we start. Sorry, it's so weird speaking without like saying hi to you guys. Hi everybody. Happy Saturday. Right, I didn't read all of the questions just because I kind of want to give my input right there and then when I read the question itself first, just like where my mind goes right when I read it. I also don't really want to overthink it. Because I was starting to read them and then I started like my mind started running. So there's that too. Happy Friday question mark? Saturday. Mr. Lutmo, thank you for the sub. Everybody from YouTube, hello. Let's read a bit of what's going on here as we finished our finale. Also, if you guys do want to be a part of, more content like this with Q&As, and if you'd like to be there when I like finish the show, right when I finish the show, for like early release and stuff, make sure to head into Patreon, and you also get access to Discord where we actually had the questions come or to surface and whatever. So those links will be down below, just so you know. Saying that. Fast Eddie, thank you for the donation. Steph, can you please watch Rocky? I think I've heard of that. I think you guys were actually mentioned that movie before. Oh man, today's gonna be quite a discussion. I'm excited. Should we bad character? Wait, what? Well, anticlimactic to say the least, at least as far as the last episode was concerned. Yeah, the last episode was watching the reaction and kind of getting an idea again of how the last episode was in Game of Thrones. Watching it again, I mean, I saw my reaction obviously because I was in a whole different state of mind watching that last episode. But even then, right now, I was just like, I mean, in the reaction, my face was like tearing up a bit and kind of enjoying the presence of, enjoying that everybody was in like together basically. And then while I was watching it, though I felt that way in the reaction itself, me in person, I was just like, and then when they chose Bran for king and he was just like, oh, he basically was like, this is what I'm here for. Why did you think became all this way? I didn't think that you would, I did that. That wasn't a thought of mine. So it's going to be crazy. Did you feel anything? No, I didn't. I think, I'm trying to think if there was like an emotion. I mean, yeah, I was surprised. Like rewatching it, I was just like, this is really like, this is legitimately how it ended. That emotion was there. Um, when she died, no, I didn't feel much. I was laughing at myself because I was affected by the dragon's response to Dany dying rather than like anything else. Like I think that was the thing that affected me the most. Also with Tyrion finding Jaime's hand, like I think that was you know, most that affected me watching it. I have a lot to say about this. I'm going to be honest. My opinions are high. The emotion was anger. Your face changing throughout the episode was hilarious. Disappointment or contempt prob. Okay, that just happened was about the right reaction. Grey Worm winning MVP for most hated character the last episode, question mark. Hi, Frog. Oh, this is going to be fun today. What would you have done differently in the ending? We're going to talk about it. We're going to go over the questions and we're going to kind of discuss we're gonna go from there. So when are we gonna start with House of Dragons? We are doing Stranger Things before that season comes out, and then we're gonna head over to House of Dragons. Yeah, there was a shock on your face when Daenerys was stabbed. I was thinking how fortunate there were no houseflies in the room. I think I was shocked because of Jon in general. I think that I not only that, but the shock in me comes more from the writing of what was going on. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it there. John, thank you for the donation. Night of the Seven Kingdoms coming in January. Game of Thrones prequel. Highly recommend. Ooh. Game of Thrones seemed to have the writer in a hurry to wrap up the series. It was a disappointment compared to the high standard of the rest of the series. I believe the writers hurried to a Star Wars project. Yes, I was told. I was told about that. One second. Let me make sure Habits is in here. Okay. Very excited for your Stranger Things reaction. That's going to be fun. Danny's turn makes sense, but it's unsatisfying because of poor writing. There are lots of examples of tragic characters that don't feel like Danny. Wait, what do you mean? Don't feel like Danny? Do you watch your own reactions so people don't like watching themselves on screen? Not necessarily. I don't, unless it's something that I really want to watch. Obviously, the finale of Game of Thrones. I really want to watch my No Way Home reaction because I love that movie, and I don't notice sometimes how much my face shows exactly what I'm like thinking and feeling. And it's so, and I had talked about this in the last stream as well, but I'm excited to see that reaction because I can't, there were so many things that happened in that film. And I was like, oh, I have to watch my reaction. So I'm excited. All right. Where is Habits? Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna start before we get into all of it because I know everyone's commenting a lot of the things that were going on in the last episode. I'm gonna open up the questionnaire and we're gonna dive into them. We're gonna do that. So let's do that. Also, we're keeping this stream specifically based on the finale of Game of Thrones question stuff. So if anybody has questions about any other films and shows that are or reaction stuff that are coming up, I will not be answering until probably once I'm done with this stream type of thing. So just a quick heads up that I'm not ignoring you. We're just gonna keep it we're gonna stay in line because I know when we do streams we get all over the place. Okay, I got the questions. We're gonna do this. It's gonna be so fun. Okay, let's begin our discussion with the first question. Again, just a quick heads up. I know we have a couple new people here. I did not read all the questions. I just want to give my first thought basis right when I read it. I don't want to kind of overthink it, but I really would love to discuss these kinds of things, especially because I know that some of you have seen this show numerous amount of times, and it was my first time watching, so it could be completely different, especially once, if you have rewatched the show, you have a completely different mindset when you come to know more details that you didn't pick up as your first time watch. So this is specifically also why I want to have a little discussion, because as a first time watch for the show, it took me a while to kind of grasp a lot of information that was kind of being thrown in the first 1-2 seasons. So that too. Fun. Okay. Our first question is by Calbert. And he asked, what was the most shocking thing to you that happened in the series? I had read this question. I think we all know, if you guys saw the reaction to all of the episodes, my biggest shock was the last 2 episodes. I'm gonna say the second to last episode. The whole burning down the city, just everything that happened in that episode was, even with Jamie. I mean, there was a lot of things that happened in that episode where I was just like, I talked about this in the reaction too, but I felt whiplash from that episode, and I think that was the biggest thing for me. Especially because Dany was a character that I really loved throughout the series, and after a while, towards the end, it just kind of became like this really odd, out of character. I don't know. I know you guys are talking about the bad writing, which I agree, but I think that was like one of the biggest things for me that just left me absolutely just all over the place. Crazy. Matos man, thank you for subbing. Jamie Lannister's ending was so bad too. All that redemption for nothing. Exactly. I think especially because I came to really, really like Jamie, especially with his character development and everything that he had gone through. And then also that small burn, that slow burn with Bree. It's just, yeah. I think that second to last episode was that. I would have thought you would have said the red wedding was the most shocking moment. I did think of that. I did think about the red wedding. But I honestly, the red, that episode, that was, okay, hold on. The red wedding and this second to last episode that I talked about, I was kind of putting those up between each other. Because the red wedding was also very shocking to me. But I think I had more mixed emotions for the second to last episode, because in Game of Thrones, things happen, tragedy happens. I mean, and somebody had mentioned in the Twitch chat about Ned Stark dying. Okay. There are certain, things are bound to not go your way, right? And the red wedding, especially with Game of Thrones, everybody's at their necks. Like anybody can be your enemy, basically. So, and the writing was doing great at that point. So there are some things that you can accept, that happened. But again, I had those two running up next to each other, but for me, it's just that second to last episode that left me just kind of befuddled. I would have thought you would. Oh, sorry. Jamie was an addict. Drug was Cersei. Anyone who has been around addicts would know his ending was on point. Even with that though, like even with Cersei being like his weakness type of thing, we know and we've seen how he is with her, obviously, but there's a certain point that comes from like someone's integrity, I guess you could say, or like who they come to be. It's not just that, oh, because you're an addict, you're just, no matter how hard you work for it, you're going to end up right back from the start. Like I don't believe in that personally. And the way that you're making it sound with like the addiction, like a drug addiction towards Cersei, I don't agree with that. Because I feel like with Jamie's character, there was so much character development, especially right after we learned that he killed the Mad King. Like he was the one who who did that, especially for what the Mad King was about to do. And right after we knew that, his character started developing from there. Like there was just a lot of great things, especially because in the beginning, Jamie, for me, I was just like, who like I feel like I was like angry and upset with this guy. And after that, as he grew as a person and a character and all of that, um, it's not something that you can just say, oh, it's like a drug addiction. Like Cersei is his weakness, which it was, but I don't agree. I don't agree with it because of how much development I saw in Jamie. And then he landed right back at the start. So I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about that. Um, the things we do for love. Everything was heading towards in the right direction with the prince that was promised. They ruined Jamie's character in the end because he admits he never cared for anyone except Cersei, which contradicts the reasoning of why he took out the Mad King. Right? It's yeah, it's just I mean that's how I see it. I just think it, from how we've come to know Jamie, I feel like it just contradicts his character, just going right back to the start. Especially for like his reasonings behind of a lot of things that he did throughout the show after, um, after we kind of started liking him a bit, or at least me. To me, Hodor was crazy. Yeah, that one was oof. I think if I rewatch this show, I'm gonna sob. I fully understand the disappointment that people had, but his character development wasn't as far fetched as people make it sound. Well, it's not. I don't know. I don't think it's like how we make it sound. It's just exactly what it is. Like he had, after we learned why he did what he did to the Mad King, that matters because if you say that all he cared about was himself and Cersei, again, who somebody had mentioned it here on the Twitch chat, then he wouldn't have killed the Mad King. And also, there's a lot of things after we came to find that out. There are certain things that we started noticing Jamie where you were kind of like surprised in certain decisions that he would make, especially when it came to Tyrion, with a lot of things that were going on with like his father and Cersei and how Cersei felt about Tyrion. If that were so, things would have been very different with the relationship between Jamie and Tyrion and the things that he did for Tyrion. So I just feel like it's really contradicting, honestly, which is why I was just like, okay, you know. But it could have also been because of the baby. Like the baby really makes, I honestly feel like the baby really makes that big of a difference too. So I don't, yeah. Um, there's a theory that Jamie wanted to make sure that Cersei would die, and that's why he went back to her. That's a theory? I didn't know that. Jamie would not agree about any redemption. Recall what he said to Bree when he left her at Winterfell. He recited his litany of sins. Um, yeah, you know what? When I heard Jamie talking to Bree before he left and like reiterating all of that, I I personally take it more in context of like how he feels about himself rather than like his own beliefs, if that makes sense. And I think I did talk about this in the episode, um when we did, or the second to last episode when we watched it. I When he was saying that, I was questioning, like, does he feel that bad about his mistakes and the man that he is and the things that he has done? Because obviously we know he's done a lot of shit. um I don't want to blank out, guys. I'm gonna blank out. Obviously we know that he's done a lot, but I also think that it's kind of, I don't want to say a projection because he wasn't like projecting it on anyone, but I think that, I don't think it was an actual belief or a deep belief, I guess you could say. I think it came more from how he feels about himself and the mistakes that he did commit, or like the things that he did do. And I just don't see it as a like, oh, he wouldn't agree with the redemption thing. Just because of how he feels about uh other people and the things that they have done. So I just, it's just very hard. It's like, you can't, how do I explain this? Like, the way he is with other people, he isn't with himself. Does that make sense? Like with Tyrion, for example, I mean, he killed the father. Tyrion has made a lot of mistakes. And with the way that Jaime treated him, it doesn't really correlate with the way that he, like, oh, he doesn't agree on redemption. Like, I don't think that. I think it comes more from like his own trauma, his own pain, like his own dealings with himself. That makes sense. Yes, in George R. Martin's books, the witch Maggie the frog prophesied that Cersei would die at the hands of the Valonqar, um, which means little brother in Valyrian. Maggie specifically told Cersei that the Valonqar would wrap his hands around her pale throat and choke the life from her after her children had died. The assumption was that Tyrion would kill her, but I believe Jaime is also her little brother, so the theory is that Jaime was supposed to be the one that killed her. That is crazy. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Morton, thank you for the donation. Just wanted you to have this as thanks for the ride. Thanks for the ride we've been through together. I'm one of the few people who loved the finale, so I probably have a lot of things to say you don't agree with. But anyway, thanks again. No, 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 you're okay. Let's talk about it. We're all gonna have different opinions, and you've probably watched the show a lot more times than I have, which is why I think it's also important to have this discussion and kind of talk about it, because as a first time watch, that's how I feel specifically about certain characters. And I also don't want you to think that the finale itself, it was just like, how do I explain this? I just think the writing was terrible. Because I honestly feel Danny killing this, what Danny did basically, that is, to me, like, that is so, yes, it is like whiplash because of how the writing was, but if it was played out the way it was supposed to, or just with like more intention, or it to be like a great writing, that ending would have been like, oh shit, like, it actually, I just think the writing is what killed off a lot of what was going on, not what happened, if that makes sense. Not, the only reason why what happened matters is because of the writing itself, if that makes sense. Jamie probably feels a massive amount of self-hatred and guilt from killing the Mad King because of how a lot of people see him, such as Ned, believing that he's in the wrong, even if he isn't. So he has this self-belief that he can never be fixed or changed, and he believes he's just as fucked up as Cersei, tied him with the infatuation and love they have for each other. Exactly. That basically is how I feel about Jamie. Like, I just think he was, like, I really loved his character development and everything that we've gone through with him. But I do feel like what he had told Bree before he went to go get Cersei, I don't think that he thoroughly believes, like, oh, there's no redemption and da da da. I just think it's more of like a self-hatred guilt thing, like you said, that makes him just kind of be like, no matter what I've done so far, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go back to square one, type of thing. Not because he actually believes that, but because he has like this inner turmoil with himself. So he goes. We have to understand the ending was forced. D&D had to make it all up, and to not have Jon Snow not kill the Night King is just wrong. In an earlier episode, the last season was the second to last. Jaime and Cersei are standing on the large map of Westeros. Jaime was standing on the fingers, and Cersei is standing on the throat. Dude, the little things that they put in the show is crazy. I did not know that either. That's so cool. Oh, there you go. Okay. What Dany did made no sense. It's like a vegan wiping out a bunch of farm animals because she's mad at people who eat meat. I did feel like Dany did lose. She did lose so much towards the ending of the show, which if it had good fighting, it would have made sense and it would have made the ending just phenomenal if the writing was good, because it would make sense of how much she feels towards all of that and why she did what she did. But the way it happened killed it for me. So, people trying to rationalize Jaime when it's really the writers just deciding, you know what would be cool if we made Jaime an asshole again. Jaime's nuance and whole arc in the books got thrown in the trash. That's possibly one of the bigger sins of the last two television seasons. Was his arc in the books similar? It was just rushed. They put so much in 2 episodes. If they stretched it out, maybe the Mad King would have made sense. Exactly. Yep. Ended way too abruptly. Could have done another season or 2. Agreed. The writers destroying Tyrion's IQ is just crazy. That last season, huh? Yeah. Okay, let's head over to wait, we've got another one. Semper Shifty. I don't think Jaime going back to someone he loves and cares about makes him an asshole. It doesn't make him an asshole, but it does for me just kind of contradict a lot of what he came to be, which we've talked about. Jaime is getting better in a good writing. Wait, what? Jaime is getting better in a good writing way in the books, or in a good way writing in the books. Wait, guys, hold on. Martin also wrote a lot of stupid things in the books, but the characters continued to behave as they always had, and the dialogue was always good. Incidentally, with each book, Martin's overall quality of both the plot and the characters improved, but here it's the other way around. The last episode ending was super rushed. Like, why did Jon Snow have such a bad fate? Yeah. There's just so much that was odd, I feel, with how much we've gone through in the show for it to end that way. The last book is not even done yet. Perfect. I can't believe that. Okay. Okay, let's go to the second question. Okay. All right. Second question is from Manu Ciels. Knowing that Bran ended up being the king of the Seven Kingdoms, do you think it was the best choice? Or for you, which character would have been the best choice? Let's talk about this. One of the things that was discussed under the comments of that YouTube video was about Bran as well. I can't remember if I talked about it in the outro, but also watching the reaction to the last episode right before we started the stream, it kind of rewinded my brain back to that. And in my personal opinion, logically, Bran being king, he's just like a biased character. I believe that's the correct wording. He's just gonna have, like, how do I explain this? For those who were sitting on the throne, a lot of their decisions obviously come from the connections they have or the relationships with people, their family, their friends, their this, their that, all of those things. Logically speaking, as we come to know Bran as a three-eyed raven, he doesn't really have that anymore. And I also talked about that because there's a point where there's been characters that came up to him and they're like, don't you feel blah, 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 blah. Oh, unbiased? Okay, sorry. I meant unbiased. Thank you, Habits. Oh crud, what was I saying? Thank you, Habits. No, I meant not sarcastically. I'm saying thank you for correcting me. But maybe I should just start from that. The other, okay, so everyone, right? So then, people who were sitting on the throne. Sorry. A lot of their decisions come from obviously the relationships with everyone else. And Bran, oh, that's what I was talking about. There are characters who have like came up to him during the series after he became the Three-Eyed Raven, and they were like, "Don't you feel any kind of remorse? Don't you feel this? Don't you feel upset? Don't you feel that?" And he would just be like, he would literally sit there. This is okay. This is right after we had those couple of seasons where we just didn't have anything about Bran, and I kept like, that was the one thing that I was curious, like interested in. And I was just like, where is he? When he comes back now, after that whole thing, people would ask him like, don't you feel this? Don't you feel that? And he would sit there and he would just be like, I don't feel anything anymore. And then, he would just go off on a tangent. And no, I'm not gonna, no. It was a little upsetting. So seeing that he doesn't really connect towards a lot of emotion with everything that's kind of going on. Obviously, he knows the right away, I guess you could say. But that's like the only logical thing that I could say, okay, yeah, he could be king because he's unbiased. Because if something happens, he's going to go the route. I know you guys make fun of me for route or route, but he's going to go the route that basically is needed because of the fact that he's unbiased, and it's just how naturally he naturally is because of the whole Three-Eyed Raven thing. Robert, thank you for becoming a supporter. You're on Discord now. Okay, wait, you guys have been... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I haven't finished. Okay, I can't read the comments before I finish my thought process. Okay, hold on. Okay, so that, logically. Going from the other side, to me, that was so random. Even watching the reaction again, I was just like... in the reaction itself, I was like teary-eyed because everyone was kind of like joining each other and like I on him being king or whatever, which was, it's nice to see togetherness. But while I was watching myself feel that way towards the episode, I was just like, no. I was like, I don't, my personal opinion, I just, Bran being king is so random to me. And then they asked him about like, would you be king for forever and whatever? And he was just like, why did you think I came all this way? Not for that, that's for sure. I did not think that was, I know. Oh, and then the question was for you, which character would have been the best choice? I think when I had finished the show, I thought personally that the character who should have became king was Jon Snow. That's I think I've rooted for him for a very long time, but only because throughout the show, I feel like he's had a lot of tough decisions to make, and for the majority, I feel like he's done the right thing no matter how difficult that choice was or how difficult it was to make it happen. Which is something that I really admired in his character. And I think there is a lot of admiration to be had for him. So I think like when I had finished the show, I personally thought that Jon Snow should have been like, that would have been like that's like my top opinion, that Jon Snow should have been king. I was rooting for him for a very long time. There were so many things that happened, and coming all the way to the end to hear, very difficult. So, yeah, okay. I'm going to read a little bit of the comments. I know you guys are kind of going at it right now. You guys are like commenting. Leader with no family ties, but leader with seemingly no empathy and emotion. Yeah, right. Saying Bran should be king when he says to everyone he's a sociopath who can't feel emotion anymore. Yeah, great idea. Okay. Well, okay. That's okay. Yes. So you guys kind of know where I'm where I'm kind of landing with the whole brand discussion on him being king. And also after he became the three-eyed raven and him not having emotions towards lots of things, and then coming to that where they're like, would you be king and blah blah blah, and he's like, why did you think I came all this way? It's just like, so the emotion that you do have is the fact that you wanted to be king or that you had to be king, or like where does that kind of land? There was no implication and there was no conversation that happened about how Bran felt in depth about becoming king, which I feel like was needed. Like I really need like an explanation on his Bran's thought process and his character specifically on why he wants to be king and why it would be a good idea. I just I I need to be convinced. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was also, I'm pretty, that had to do with the bad writing, but I feel like that needed to happen. Um okay, let's see where you guys are at. Bran is hardly human by the end, which fine considering his journey slash powers, but such a cop out on the political side of the story. Agreed. Um Steph, do you know the stupid reason why D&D didn't make the Jon the king? Because they wanted a twist. That's their only reason. Well, they definitely twisted everything, so they got it. They got what they wanted. Bran's acceptance of being king had to be the worst line in the entire series. That's what I'm saying. It's just so odd. It's just odd. All right. I always thought after reading the last book that it would be Jon the King in the North, Dany on the Iron Throne, and Aegon would rule Dorne, which would have one dragon, since Rhaegar said in Dany's vision the dragon has three heads. Wait, did you finish the irony comment? I did finish it, but I mean, I finished it. I finished it while I was speaking, like doing it. I don't know if it didn't finish for the recording itself. You just finished stating your reason for Jon being king. I'm trying to think. Everything Jon went through, everyone's saying and pointing to the fact that he's a perfect fit for the throne, but he ends up just going back to the Night's Watch, which, by the way, why is a Night's Watch still even a thing if all the White Walkers are dead? Question mark. I'm gonna assume that it's more for like, I don't know, protection from people that might be go against, but I don't know. Like what would happen from here, like everybody other mystical creatures, right? Like, I don't know. So there's no one north of the wall anymore. Also, the wall has a hole now. Well, maybe it's Jon's job to do the whole, whatever. It's just, I was thinking, yeah, I honestly thought it was more like mystical creatures or something. I mean, if there's White Walkers, there's got to be some other type of species. No, it's got to be some other creature. Really don't know. Well, there is the little baby White Walker. Huh? Dude, the White Walker thing was like vampires. You kill the Night King and everybody's just gone now. But how did he come to be? Am I right? There's gotta be something. Night's Watch is still a way to punish / exile people, and the North did not make any declarations about maintaining the wall. I guess that's it. All right, so it's just like a punishment thing. So interesting. Okay, well, I don't know where I was, but I basically just talked about my opinion on why Jon was like the top decision for me on why he should be king. I do remember when I was watching the last episode, I thought for a split 0.2 seconds that they were about to name Tyrion the king, and I was gonna be like, huh, shit, But yeah, that was, I almost thought that. They showed us that, didn't they? The Children of the Forest made the first White Walker. Oh, dude, I don't remember that. What season was that? Ugh. Well, now I know again. Yo, who becomes king after Bran if he can't have kids? Great question. Hmm. Now you have me thinking. My gosh. It's shown in the Door episode. Oh, they covered that in the last episode? They said that the Council of all the Lords would always vote for the new king, no longer based on lineage. Okay, yeah. I think the White Walkers should have won the Battle of Winterfell personally. And then what? After that, what happens? GRM stated that the link between the Children of the Forest and the White Walkers will be explored later in the book. So it's at last two books issue. Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel like I would want to know like that whole correlation between them. The next three-eyed raven will become king/queen after Bran, maybe. Actually, Ryan, now that you mentioned that, because the three-eyed raven does kind of go on and on and on, and Bran was chosen. And if that were the reason so on why Bran was chosen to be king, technically they well, I don't know. Technically, wouldn't they want that for the rest of them? They mentioned royalty would no longer be determined by blood, but by unanimous decision. They should have just had the White Walkers take out King's Landing, then make the last battle at Dorne or something. Ooh. Honestly, again, Bran being king could have worked if it was fleshed out and actually written well. So many of these decisions, I feel like that. Yeah, I agree. He has immense knowledge from past and present, so it could work. But in this instance, it really just doesn't. Don't get me wrong, Jon all the way to be king, that was what made sense. I don't know. I do agree with that. I personally think how you said, Jon being king, that would have been like my top choice for that. The whole thing of how things ended are difficult to accept because I don't feel like we had the best form of going about it. Like the way it went down is ridiculous, which is what makes the decision which is what makes the decision or what happened ridiculous. Because I can accept that Dany did that. I can accept Bran being king. I can accept kind of the twist that happened at the end of the show. But the only reason why I can't is because of how it happened, not because of what it is. So I'm trying, Kieran. I'm trying. I'm trying my best here. um there's just so much missing is the issue. The issue with Bran is that they made him too much of a zombie. If it had been young Bran from early seasons who had leadership qualities, that would have worked. Yes. And that's why I also talked about the fact that when people came up to him after he became the three-eyed raven, because even when that happened in the show and they came to him asking him about how he felt about certain things, and he would just sit there with this like face of indifference, and he would just be like, I don't feel anything. I am the three-eyed raven. That's exactly what it felt like. It just feels like a zombie. Like you I don't know, man. I don't know. Bran's gone. There's no Bran. There's just a three-eyed raven and whatever that is. So, yeah, so crazy. The three-eyed raven is essentially AI. Bran now has control over Westeros with all past memories and knowledge. How can anyone ever compete with he who knows everything? But that's the thing, though. who can compete with that? The people who actually have empathy and the people who actually have feelings towards everything around them, like around life itself and connections and things that go on and the things that happen in front of your eyes. I feel like Bran or the Three-Eyed Raven, from the way that they made it seem, he doesn't really have that anymore. And he hasn't had it since he turned into the Three-Eyed Raven. So the competition is literally that, is the fact that someone can have those emotions, which correlate so they are so important to the impact of why a person should be king in the first place, which is what makes it so difficult. There was supposed to be a solo series of Jon being king of the free folk, but I guess they scrapped that idea. They wasted Arya and all her training. Bran can even see if they're about to start a revolution so he can banish them to the wall with Jon. Yeah. I also thought, this is random, kind of, but when Arya got on that horse, I thought that was Bran. Truthfully, I just thought that was him. I remember saying that. Colin, thank you for the donation. Oh, and the shit with not seeing Jon tell Arya and Sansa about him and cutting it out. We all waited for a moment that never came. There is so much of that. There is so much in those last episodes where I was just like, oh, this did happen. Okay. And the one that I remember right now is the fact that when Jon killed Dany and it went straight to the decision of the king. Do you know how much we've gone through with Dany and how she even came to be to finally be standing there, and now she's gone, and there is no discussion, there is no sentimental scene, there is nothing, but we have to choose the king now. It literally was like one scene, she's dead, and the next, even, and I was looking at my reaction because I was like, oh no, I was waiting for it. I was waiting for something. In the reaction itself, I was like, oh my God. I was literally like, oh my gosh, they're about to find out that Jon killed Dany. I wonder how their reaction is going to be with like everyone who has followed her, everyone who's kind of like turned away from her when they were at her side, like anything. And it just comes to like, oh, Bran, we want you to be king. I was like, oh, okay, it did happen. Okay, cool. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. And I just remember my reaction. I remember my mind going through that and nothing happened. Like there was just so many things that were missing, man. And that's also why I was talking about wanting to know about Bran being king and coming all this way, is how he says. And Anonymous, thank you for gifting a sub. Crazy. The biggest issue is the Russian. I could take the ending if there were more story to it. Yes. And no one objects to Bran being king. Right. Do you know how long in the entire series of how much turmoil, or like how much, how do I even explain this? How much times people have been so opinionated on who is to be sitting in that throne, the one to be king, queen, whatever. There was so much in all of that. This is what made the show. Like this is the entirety of the show, right? And then no one's saying literally a word about him being king. It was just like, I. Half of you don't even know him. Half of you don't even know what he's gone through. You don't even know who or what he is anymore. It just doesn't really, it really doesn't make sense. There's just so much in that it's just a very hard concept. And I'm so glad you brought it up, because going back and thinking about it, I'm just like, no one said jack shit to that. They were just like, Bran. Like I really want to go back and look at everybody who's sitting in that council or who's sitting there. And I want to know What exactly do you know about Bran? Period. What do you know about Bran? What do you what is it? Just so I can have some kind of understanding to nobody stepping up on that. It's crazy. Almost had a hard attack with that alert. I know, I'm sorry. There's a lot of alerts. Okay, let's head over to the next question. People on that council used to backstab each other for a drop of power, and they just got along. They just go along with it. It's just really, really interesting. Ooh, Steph, have you seen the video of the actors reacting to stuff at the script reading? Like when Varys died, he looked so visibly pissed. I didn't know. I didn't see the video. No. I didn't know there was a video. I saw a picture of them all reading the script at one point, but I think that's about it. Okay. Next question. This is from Mick Kokta. MikkokT. Which characters did you think had the best arc in the show? I think this is I read this question before. The best character arc. I honestly, can I say the best character arc, but not to the ending of the show? Because I feel like they really shitted on a lot of characters. Where their arc is literally like this. You know? And so can I say, like, I'm going to give my opinion on the best character arc when it comes to not the ending of the show. Let's put it that way, right? Because I feel like I had a lot of characters where I was like, oh, cool. Oh my God, love them. And then came the last season or whatever, and or the two last seasons, and then they just dropped to hell. So I'm just kidding, not to hell, but it really just was, I don't know, everybody's character arc just kind of seemed all over the place at the end. I'm going to give my opinion. Ned, literally, like, how do you want me to go about it? I'm just going to name someone who died towards the part of the show that was actually, that was good. That's the best I'm going to go with. I'm going to say, literally, I honestly think I made a joke about that, but I truthfully think that that's the best way to go about it with the character arcs. I can't say the ones of the ending because there's a lot that happened that I can't really say their arc went any better at the end, especially because I loved Tyrion. I really started liking Jaime, Dany. There's just a lot going. Arya, like, there's just so much. But I think one of the characters that I really loved, or character arc, I'm gonna say, because I really loved Jorah, but not with a character arc is different. I feel like he was very loyal. Like, his character kind of went through since we met him, type of thing. Or like since, he officially gave himself to Dany, Okay, anyway, I'm going to go with I really love the Hound. Let me see. Sorry. Let me see. I want to make sure that I'm saying the correct. Yes. Okay. The Hound. I think I really loved his character arc because in the beginning when and I really loved the final battle that he had with his brother, or what is it, the mountain? That was awesome. And they were thrown into like the fire, which I thought was a really cool irony to it all. But I remember the Hound in the beginning. I wasn't fond of him. I really loved Arya since the beginning. So that whole relationship dynamic between them and how that happened, I just wasn't really fond of the Hound. But I think as the show went on, you just come to like really admire his character and who he is and why he does the things that he does, type of thing. Especially, I'm not gonna cry. It's because we just saw it in the reactions to the last episode. especially when he was with Arya, and obviously that's a big relationship dynamic that was part of like the whole journey between, or the whole journey in Arya and him. So in their own I'm sorry, their own independent journeys, there's a lot that correlated with their specific relationship dynamic. um Sorry, but I think his character arc I loved it. I loved it, and all the way to the end. It, with even with the correlating to the reaction when Arya came to care to kill Cersei, and he was there, and the way he reacted to that whole thing, and that was really, I love that. And then the whole final battle between him and the mountain, I thought that was really good. So I really appreciated his character arc. I'm gonna say that one. I know you put an S at the end of character if there's another character. um Oof. I think that's like the top of my, that's like the top one that I'm thinking about. Um why did she say not the last season? He had a decent ending too. Wait, who? I said the last season because I loved a lot of the character arcs, but because of the last season, the character arcs that I enjoyed throughout the show really went downhill fast. Like my top character arcs, quote unquote, I guess you could say. That last season was just, it just kind of scraped out all of those people that I was thinking about. But they did, I feel like the Hound, and this is what I was talking about when somebody mentioned on YouTube, like I think somebody had mentioned like, oh, someone who had already, like Ned. You guys talked about Ned and how, you know, his character arc, but he's gone now, you know. So I can't really give my opinion based off of the ending of the show, and the Hound died. Like it has to be someone who died, because anyone who is alive now, their character arc just seems really strange to me to say that, oh, I love the character arc even to the end now. They're alive and I really love what they've come to be. You know what I'm saying? Or what they've came to be. So Theon. Theon was great too. Yeah. That one's a good one. That one's a good one. I like that one as well. That one was, ooh, honestly, with his character arc, it's um there's a lot of emotions that go into Theon's character, just because of the things that have happened with him, and how much like hatred. Like I honestly feel like it was so upsetting in the beginning of getting to know his character, and then all the way till the end, and how that happened is like, so like just like the redemption and all of that. Theon is a great one as well. Yes. Theon's arc was a roller coaster. Exactly. I think his is just like insane. Like it's just crazy to think about the emotions that you feel throughout his character. Um Heard originally Arya's show was discussed. Arya did exactly what she said she was going to do, even when she was in the House of Black and White. The thing about Arya selling West is already done in the book. HODT, and only 3 small islands found. It was strange that Bran didn't tell her. Oh, I didn't think of that. Ned's arc got cut short. Ned's arc, being a very good dude and way too naive, teaching everyone that being naive against mass murdering psychopaths will get you dead every time. I mean, this is Game of Thrones. There's a lot of, anything could happen, you know. Um Ramsay had a had a great arc as well. Um Um, I just really feel Tyrion was kind of an afterthought in the final seasons compared to his huge presence before. I agree. I do definitely think that his character was kind of whisked away, I guess you could say, throughout the last season or two. Um yeah. Yeah. I also think uh, I just thought of this right now that I do kind of want to talk about when it comes to Tyrion. It's very interesting to me because obviously with his father, there was a lot of emotions that came from how his father felt, or just in general how his family felt about him. Um and his father, like how much he just like really diminished him and like belittled him, sorry. uh and then he ended up killing him, you know. And when we go to Danny and seeing how differentiated his thought process was from Danny, and actually, I take it back. I take it back what I was talking about. I was going to talk about the fact that he didn't kill Danny. Like he just kind of he went about with everything and he was just like, I can't believe you've done this type of thing. And he didn't really, uh, yeah, just basically that. Like, I can't believe you've done this. Right. But then he killed his father. I'm trying to explain this better. I don't feel like I'm explaining it thoroughly. Um, what I originally was going to say is that I thought Tyrion, coming to who he was now, I would have believed if he would have done something about what Dany did or what she was about to do or what happened. But he was just kind of like there, if that makes sense, especially with the things that Tyrion has done in the past, is what I was going to say. But then I kind of scraped that because Dany, which is, especially with all like viewers in general, Dany gave that hope to a lot of people. Like there's a lot of reasoning behind admiration for her, if that makes sense. So I had to stop myself from trying to decipher those two with like his father and Dany, because those are two different emotions that could be stirring in him, because Dany and his father are completely different and the way they treated him completely different. So that's why I kind of reverted from that. I had to just not talk about it. I stopped myself because my mind was running while I was talking, and that's where I got it. Yeah. It was rushed, all of it, but I liked how the Hound became the representation of humanity versus a monster. He was afraid of fire. When he seen a blade could not kill him, he went into the fire. I think that was powerful. I think the whole final battle between them two was great. I really loved it. Especially, I know I talked about it, but like the irony of him being thrown into the fire. Just because throughout the entire series we know that he's been afraid of fire for, he just has a lot of PTSD and trauma from it, and he's just terrified of it. And when it comes to the mountain, he knew what was right. And no matter how scared he was like, I'm never going to be able to kill you. You're probably going to kill me, but if I'm going to die, you're going down with me. And well, when we got there. Okay. Hound? Why are you saying hound? Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's go to the next question. Let's see here. Okay, this is from Kieran T. Do you think Arya was the right choice for killing the Night King, or would you rather Jon or someone else give the final blow? Let's start with that question. Do I think Arya was the right choice for killing the Night King? From all the twists that we had at the end of the show, I don't really mind her killing the Night King, to be honest. I feel like Arya had a really strange and interesting life throughout the series. Like I think she went through so many, like watching the show, Arya was definitely up there on like what is going on with her, who is this, how is she doing this, like it's very crazy to me, like her. Yes, exactly. So I don't really mind that she killed the Night King. I feel like out of all the twists that we had at the end, I don't really mind that one. Especially because one thing that I do love about a movie or a show or anything like that is when you're looking one way and something's happening the other way and it catches you by surprise. I love that. Obviously, not with a lot of things that happen in the show that weren't written well, but I feel like all of our heads were turned towards John being, and we were all, at least I was personally, I feel like maybe, a lot of the viewers maybe had the same idea, but my head was turned towards John and I was like, he needs to go. He needs to, like, if he's not gonna make it, like, da 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 da. Like, that's where my mind was, and I was like, John needs to kill the Night King. Um, there was so much going on. I was like, there has to be, like, he has to make it, or else we're done for. Especially if the Night King reaches Bran. Like, our heads were elsewhere. So I think that personally I enjoyed about the fact that we had Arya kill the Night King, especially because I feel like throughout the series we had a lot of different scenes, and Arya was really, ever since I feel like we've met Arya in the series, she's always been a fighter. I feel like she's always been physically and physically and mentally. I feel like we've always watched her kind of practice her fighting in general physically, and then when it comes to mentally, she was always a go-getter. Like, she was always a fighter. So I don't really mind it, to be honest. I don't. I think I care about more that John didn't become king rather than him, like, not killing the Night King, you know after season 5, I watched the show for Arya, and the fact that she destroyed the main walker was a good idea. At first, I thought Jon should do it, but Arya is also a good option. And this is due to the fact that in season 2, they said she would close her blue eyes. Oh, I forgot about that. But this could have been shown in a more interesting way with a more dramatic buildup. And overall, Arya has become terribly arrogant in recent seasons. Ooh. Yeah, I remember having a little bit of of doubt when that whole thing happened with Sansa. But only because we started to kind of notice that arrogance after she kind of what is the word? After she kind of, like, knew who she was, type of thing, with all the magical elements and the god, all of that, and the masks, and the killing, and after, yes. Everyone hated she got the kill instead of Jon. Arya was a perfect choice. Jon was the leader of the armies. Arya was an assassin. That's kind of where my head's at. Like, I feel like she was always, how do I explain this? Like, that was the one thing that she kind of set her mind to, like, is becoming that. Is like becoming a great fighter, like becoming something like that. So I personally feel like, yeah, I don't really mind that. Um Arya killing the Night King was acceptable and satisfying. I just wish Jon had a chance to fight the Night King. Yes. That as well. Just because I feel like we've waited for Jon for a very long time. And especially with everything that happened with Jon, I feel like we were waiting, especially because he got brought back from the dead and everything. I feel like we were waiting for some, the satisfaction that we wanted from Jon is to have, like, this big fight. There's something that, like, really set in stone the reason why he was brought back from the dead. And I know that set in stone and that confirmation came more from, like, his way of being and the things that, like, his decision making on a lot of the things that he did. Because it really altered a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? It altered a lot of not scenes. It altered a lot of big moments in the show, if that makes sense. The Night King didn't want Jon's hands. He saw him kill his buddies in a 1v1. The Night King didn't want Jon's hands. He saw him killing his buddies in a 1v1. If that's so, if she's an assassin, she could have killed Cersei pretending to be kind of with a nice face change reveal. Yeah, but the only difference in that is that the entire, like, that she was gonna die. Like, how everything was going at that point, Like if she would have killed Cersei any time other than, you know, everything falling apart and literally your surroundings are coming down at you, I think it would have been a little different. I would have preferred Jon or even Dany killing the Night King as the prince/princess that was promised. I would have loved Arya killing more people on her list like Queen Cersei. Ah, I see, I see. I remember the Night King. Oh, I'm sorry. I remember the night the episode aired and Arya killed the Night King. Everyone in my entire apartment building erupted at the same time. It was hilarious when I realized all my neighbors were watching the same thing at the same time. What an experience. What an experience. That's so crazy. That's so awesome that it can just like unite people like that, just all in the same building, just all watching the same thing. Oh my God. What do we say to the god of death, Steph? Not today, biatch. I'm just kidding. Dude, that is so cool. That's crazy that happened. Okay. I feel there is a moment where they changed the plot after the fight when the dead first awoke. A Night Lord went to shatter his sword. It didn't break. Did that mean his sword was Valyrian steel? Ooh, wait, I don't remember that. They also united all the fans in hating them at the same time. That biatch was too far. I know, I'm just kidding, Kieran. Steph about to go on a journey watching everyone else reacting to it. Yeah. My goodness. Since Winterfell was a seat for King of the North pre-AC, doesn't Arya be the princess who was promised? Sam killing the Night King while the Night King was fighting. Jon would have been nuts. That would have been actually crazy. There's a video that went viral on the internet during the GOT final season. It showed an apartment building, and you can see all the lights from the TVs changing at the same time through the windows. That's how big GOT was. That is crazy. I wonder what everybody's mind was going through watching that, like all at the same time. Goodness. Okay. We still got a couple questions in the same one. How disappointed were you about Jaime going back to and comforting Cersei and then both of them dying from falling boulders and rocks? I feel like we kind of talked about that in the beginning when we kind of talked about, let me just repeat, make my 3,000 word essay. I feel like we talked about in the beginning when Jaime had left Bree. Yeah, I feel like I talked about it. I was disappointed. I was thoroughly and very much disappointed. Again, I think it has more to do with the hatred and guilt that he has for himself rather than him actually believing that redemption isn't like there's no such thing as redemption. Like you can't change. I am what I am and that's who I am, so I'm going to do who I am. I'm going to go do who I'm going to do what I was bound to do and the inevitable. Like, I don't agree with that. I think he's done so much throughout his life, throughout the series that really differentiate from that. So that's what I say to that. Yeah, but again, I think it ties in with what we were talking about in the first few questions, because we did talk about Jaime leaving Bree and the whole speech that he gave her about that, and basically saying like, I've done so much shit in my life, like this is who I am, sorry, gotta go. Yeah, very disappointed. Okay. And then both of them dying from falling boulders and rocks. There's nothing I can do about that, you know, like there's nothing I can feel towards it. They died, you know. He made his choice and they died. I don't know. I honestly thought that they were going to come out of it just because of what Tyrion had told him and how to go about it, but obviously there was so much happening and the entire thing was falling, so they were bound to just not get out. But I mean, honestly, with the decision that he made, they were bound to both die. That was inevitable, not his whole "oh, I am who I am" thing. Him going back to Cersei, I think both of them dying makes sense. I feel like Cersei has she's done a lot of shit, man. Is and even then her pride is her ego is fucking her head is so big is what I'm trying to say. She was bound to die like that. Like I really can't give you anything else but that. She doesn't give a fuck about any sorry. She doesn't care about anything but herself and her fam like her baby, her that's it was just bound to happen. I think that's the best way to go about it. Like she did not give one single fly about the city, about like the point of her being queen was only for power. It was only for herself. She's selfish. So much around that. It has to be only for her benefit. So her dying from falling boulders and rocks, I feel like that was bound to happen. She had so many chances to not be that, and she decided against it. So that's the best I got, you know? Um and that fucking Jamie, oh sorry, and that fucking Jamie fight with that bloody pirate. How many times can you get stabbed and not die? I honestly thought that he was going to die. Or Jamie, I thought Jamie was going to die at that point. Jamie at least died the way he wanted to, in the arms of the woman I love. I think he just had a tie. Like I think he had a trauma bond with her. I'm just kidding. No, I think he just couldn't let her go. Like whatever. LMAO, damn Steph. I thought you were about to bleep yourself there for a second. Cersei basically got a happy ending, which I'm mad at. She definitely did. I think personally, I would have been more satisfied with Arya killing Cersei. Oh, and oh my god, if I could just like creatively come up with some way of how Cersei would have died by Arya's hands, I feel like that would have been such a phenomenal satisfaction is what I'm saying, because Arya's character and the magical elements that have to do with her character specifically could have made the ending of Cersei so much more satisfying, especially for all that Cersei has done and the way we felt with her, at least the way I felt with Cersei, because holy my goodness. I feel like that would have been something. But maybe that was just a little twist that they wanted to, where it's like Cersei has done all this shit, and sometimes in life, karma this, karma that, and sometimes it just, you don't get what you want. She dies a quick, well, I wouldn't say quick death, but she dies a lesser death than what we imagine, I don't know. I'm like thinking about how it could have gone down. Poor Brie, I know. I'm really sad for her. In the books, he's like in bed with the dark gods of the sea. When Jamie saw Cersei, I didn't see love in his eyes. I saw addiction. Cersei was his drug, and he was an addict to this toxic woman. Maybe it was a trauma bond. Maybe it's just like this crazy thing. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard because love can be defined so many ways. Love can be felt in so many different ways, and sometimes, if one of the very first feelings of love that you have comes from like something like that, like like a toxic relationship, like the way they had, when something good actually comes, maybe he didn't feel worth it to be in love with Brie, or for Brie to feel love for him, or to be in love with him, and that goes back to the whole hatred guilt thing that he feels. But I think maybe because of everything that he's gone through with Cersei, and also loving a woman like that, loving a person who really is basically just selfish, really ruins your sense of identity. I feel like you could say, because we've seen so much good in Jamie, especially when we learned about the Mad King and after. And yes, he's done a lot of, but There's just a lot of things that we've seen in that we saw in Jamie throughout the series, in his character arc. But again, loving someone like that and everything that you've done for that love and all of that can really, really diminish your character, like really diminish your sense of self. So I think if we were to really go about it like that, what he thinks is love could be incorrect. There is obviously there's a lot of loyalty and we get that. But if, for example, he really loved Bree, it's a whole different kind of feeling of love between Cersei and Bree. So when it came to finally coming to that sort of love that could actually be like, wow, something great can come out of it, especially with their what's it called? Oh, there was a word in my head and I can't get it. um I don't know, just admiration for their love, quote unquote. He just didn't feel worth it anymore. Like he's completely lost himself either way, even though he tried to do what was right. I think he just never was able to get over his own feelings about himself. I feel like we spent 60% of this live analyzing Jamie and says that we really have. I mean, it's very important. I mean, like the twist at the end really just has us, going into depth with everybody's sense of self. Like that's really what it is. Like with Danny, with Jon, with Arya, Bran, Cersei, Jamie, Bree, like it all has a lot to do with what one feels about themselves, because that's kind of a lot of the decisions that were being made. So, this is hard. Best stuff I will miss is Steph's reaction at the end of episodes. The best faces. Cersei manipulated Jamie his entire life. Bree was the first person to love him for the person he could have been. Exactly. And the thing is that, I mean, yeah, he could have been because he went back to Cersei. But if he had made the decision to be like, you know what? I forgive myself and I deserve something, whatever it could have been. Oh, crud. I blanked out. Fudge. I do agree that I feel like Brie was the first person that, she was selfless. And I feel like a lot of, she spent her most of her life honoring everyone around her and protecting the Stark girl. Like she's just nothing like Cersei. She really isn't. So I think, oh my goodness, there's just a lot that has to do with the way Jamie feels about himself. And yeah. But he had honor. Bree got a Valerian sword out of it. We needed more. So glad Pod got to make it to the end. He was easy pickings if they really wanted to hurt us. We need this discussion live streams after every episode of the House of Dragon. Season 1 is too good. Wait, really? Is it that? Oh goodness. Is Grey Worm justified at the end there? Oof. That's a toughie. That's tough. The romance thing with Arya, yes. With Henry was cringe too. That was a little unexpected. Yeah. It was a little out there for me. But she was like growing up, so I guess, a little bit random, All right. Next question. Okay, we have by CBT87. I don't know if he's here. But question is, how did you feel about Dany's final arc? I think you guys know that one a bit. I'm going to go about this the best way that I can. How do I feel about it? Look, we also this ties into what we were talking about at the beginning as well. I can accept that she turned mad. I can be like, it would have just been completely different if it had gone a different way. This is what I think. I don't agree with the way it ended because of how it was written. I can accept it if it was written a different way. That is the best way I can explain that. To me, bonkers about what happened. Like just like really, really crazy that that's how it went. The reason why I can accept that she went mad is because she had a lot of loss. Like she was going through a lot of losses, I guess is the best way to put it. There were so many of the the most important people in her life gone. Her dragons, Jorah, what was her name? Wait, I don't want to say it right. What was her name? I had trouble saying her name. No, that's not it. No, you guys would tell me. You guys know who I'm talking about. Missandei. Yes, okay. That there was just she lost so much, right? And it all had to do with everything that was happening, like everything that was surrounding her. And Cersei, being the way that she is, could easily make you flip a switch. Like it could, especially with everything that you're going through, and somebody just they really push your buttons like that, and Cersei really has a way of going about it. Really, that could happen really easily. So that's why I can accept that she would go mad. You know, it's just like your clarity, it just goes out the window. And yeah, you guys got it. You guys got it. All of that goes out the window. So, you know, her being like, I don't care if it's little children, this or that, they're all under say, I'm just gonna do this because at the end of the day, clean slate, and then I'll do what I want. You know, like it's just this like power dynamic. But I can accept that she would have turned mad. The only reason why I don't accept it is because of how it went down. And I wish that there was just more. I really wish there was more, because that would have been like a phenomenal ending to be like, oh shit. You know, like, oh, I need to stop cussing. I need to stop. Dany's arc equals dedicated entire life to saving common folk, then burns down an entire city full of common folk because bells rang and triggered mental illness, and she was mad at Cersei, who had no connection to the common folk. Like, what the? Just take out Cersei and small council. It's like an abolitionist mad at a slave master and taking out an entire plantation of slaves. Yeah, I think that's the part that I got really upset at the second to last episode. I feel like I was just like I was ranting in that second to last episode. And that was a really big part. Sorry, I was reading the comments. That was a really big part of why I was so upset, because she spent the majority of her life saving, like she legitimately was called the what is it called, the breaker of chains. And she knows, and okay, and there was a lot of comments under that video being like, oh, if you really didn't think that she was going to do this, like you haven't really been watching the show. And I'm like, no, the reason that I don't believe what she did is because I was watching the show. You know, like that's how I feel about it, which is, you know, two different opinions, and I get that. And which is fine. But to me it was difficult because again, it can be accepting because of what she's going through, and that can really alter somebody's decision making and their mental state. Got it. I get that. But if you want to correlate it to the rest of the show, where it's like, well, she's done this and she's killed this for less, and you know, you can kind of see the madness in her throughout the series and so on and so forth. But to me, that madness that we saw in the show and the way she went about things, that tiny bit of madness is kind of what balanced her character out and kind of made her a good character to become queen, if that makes sense. But that was only because of the balance of that quote unquote madness. Because if you were to think somebody else sitting on a throne who had the same emotions towards slaves and all of those things, um the decision making would have been completely different. Like they would have had a much harder time killing kings from different things, doing this, doing that, because of their emotional state of being and their connection towards that sympathy or um mercy. Um, and I think that's what kind of made her a great character to be what she wanted to be. That little madness in her is what made her, or that balance of madness in her is what made that so believable, because she was able to do that based on a bigger cause or a bigger goal, basically. So because of that, coming to the end and everything that she was going through and all of that, whatever, that balance kind of went out the window. Obviously, she went full mad. But I can't correlate it and say, like, it's hard for me to agree with some of the comments that were like, well, if you felt this way, it's because you weren't really watching the show. You really did. And for me, that's just hard for me. It's just hard for me to grasp. Like, it's very hard for me to understand. Because even with everything, there are like she's made decisions that really, I feel like, made sense. And people will try and justify it and be like, well, the way she killed kind of correlates to what she did at the end. And I don't feel that way, because she had a bigger purpose for the evil that she was doing. Do you get what I'm saying? Like what's the word? It's there's a certain word that people that is there's a certain word that's defined when there's like a war or something, and like certain like bad things happen, but those bad things need to happen to have this outcome. What's the word? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Is it No. No. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. I'll have to look it up. But it's basically like these things need to happen in order for this to be, or for this to be, for the outcome to come. So that's what I think. It's very hard for me to grasp because of the fact that at the end of it all, it was just like everything, like absolutely everything flew out the window. And she killed everyone. She killed children, she killed babies, she killed families, she killed everything that she'd stood for. And the thing is that when you are a person that people admire, the biggest thing is what you stand for. And what you stand for really comes from like your sense of being, like what you do in your, like, does that make sense? Casualties. Yes. It was that. And then there's something else, but I think it's two words and it's like one. I forget. But, shoot, what was I saying? I see the comments pop up and, I'm trying to get back to where I was. All the children, the babies, the family. Oh. So what you believe in and her, like what she believed in, like what you believe in and what you do in your life really, really defines you as a person. Like I feel like what your goal and what you believe in, it defines a big part of who you are. So when we look at Dany and what she really fought for is such an important role that plays in her character and in her personality and in her identity. And it still doesn't make sense, even if yeah. Yep. That's how I go. Can I say that I think my favorite arc of all is Steph's arc on this show, from going to being nervous to start the show and feeling a bit confused to just giving this amazing monologue on her thoughts of Dany's arc. As her editor, stop it. I'm just super proud. I swear to God, I didn't want to cry in this. Crud. As her editor, I'm just super proud right now to see this progress. Incredible, insightful, and well-worded stuff. Take a bow. Thanks, Habits. I appreciate it. Dude, I literally told myself I didn't want to cry in the stream just because it's literally going to be edited for YouTube and I don't want to cry. I told myself I wasn't going to. Semper. Thanks for gifting 5. Um Also, the reason why I'm crying is because I've also just been having a hard time in general. So, hearing you say that was really sweet. Um Especially with like the reactions and everything that we've gone through so far. And also with everything, I feel like I'm always going through something, and I feel so bad that I'm unable to fully focus and be able to do what I want for you guys, and like get content out as quickly and as thoroughly as I want to. And yeah, hearing you say that is, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I think about Danny's final thing. Um okay. Yeah, Danny taking out innocent women and children was a crazy reach. Nothing foreshadowed that. She lived her life for the poor, then slaughtered the poor. No sense at all. Yeah, it's basically that. Like it really is a hard thing to grasp. But again, it could be, I don't even want to say justified, but it could be accepted if it was written completely different, you know? And that's why also when Jon killed her, um, Danny was one of my favorite characters throughout the show. And when she died, I cried more for the dragon that felt for her rather than like her actually dying, which that says so much because she was one of my favorite characters. And if that doesn't tell you how bad of a of ending that is, because I cry for a lot of stuff, I mean, I don't know what else will, you know? High performance trucking, thank you for supporting, for becoming a supporter on YouTube. Now you have Discord access. Um okay, where are we? Steph from Summer Child to Epic YouTuber. The reaction series was amazing. Thank you for letting us relive the series alongside you. Chin up. Thank you, Ryan. That ending to me was pretty sad and empty. Danny was badly affected by dragon loss, but in her speech, she was talking about going to Essos and reestablishing the Valyrian Empire. Um, Everything you do is awesome, Steph. Love you. Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Um, Not gonna lie, I at first, what does it say? I was worried you were about to quit the show, but you got to the end and it was fantastic reaction. W across the board. No. If I start a show with you guys, I'm not gonna not finish it. I found it funny. Some of the comments on one of the posts that I put on YouTube was like, oh, she probably, what did she say? Oh, she probably scraped the last episode because it wasn't, or I don't know, something like that. And I was like, I don't care if I think my reaction will, I don't care if my reaction will bring a bunch of hate from people. I just like, it's, we all have our different opinions and that's okay. It's all understanding. But I would never like just scrape something just because I'm like, oh, this was bad, or I don't feel like I was good enough, or I feel like people are gonna blah blah blah. No, I'm gonna throw it out there and we're gonna talk about it. She went from reasonable to just snapping in the span of an episode. In my opinion, that should have been fleshed out slowly throughout a season. A 10 plus episode season at least, by the way, not a bloody 6 episode season. Agreed. There's just a lot. Just a lot of missing factors and a lot of the way things ended for a lot of the characters. um the writers just flipped multiple characters into opposites. Tyrion equals let's make him dumb from smart, or sorry, let's make him dumb from smart. Jaime equals make him an a-hole again. Dany equals let's have her slaughter a city of innocents. Yeah. Daenerys did burn the city, what her father wanted to do, and Jaime stopped. Apparently, it run in the family if the desire of burn stuff. I mean, the desire of burning stuff could be there, but it just depends on what you burn, eh? She was always differentiated from her, like from her family, though. I feel like that was I feel like that was a big factor that played in her character. Like we always saw a differentiation of her character compared to her family, and I think that was a more important part. Um, it's just very hard for me to accept, like, oh well, um, this was supposed to happen in this family, and it's genetic. So it happened. I don't know. Um, Yeah, her death was also badly executed. People were like, what? More than sad. Yeah. And that really says a lot. Like I really feel like that says a lot. It was just a very confusing time. Um Drogon took Danny to get resurrected. Can she get resurrected? No. Or is that a thing? Is that like a theory or something that, you know? Do you have a favorite episode or moment from the series? At the top of my head, I don't think so. Okay, let's head over to the next question. The next question comes from Matos. They asked, which character's death did you think was the most shocking, and which deaths were most deserved? This is similar. The most shocking deaths was the city. I'm just kidding. It really was though. But no, speaking about like characters, the most shocking deaths would be honestly Danny. Danny was shocking for me because what the hell just happened? Next. Another shocking death. Cersei's death was more of a shock. It wasn't really a shock. I can't really say it as a shock, but the reason why I'm saying it is because it could have been so much better. You know, there was so much emotion towards Cersei throughout the entire series. I just feel like, I guess you could say I was shocked that we didn't get like a way much better death for her. What other death? I'm trying to think of deaths. Most shocking. Oh, Ned, dude. Hell yeah. Ned was crazy. That one was rough. I mean, to walk into, the Red Wedding, brother. Dude. That was shocking. That one was just like out of the blue. And yeah, I mean, there could be a lot of deaths that were shocking. Ned was like, I feel like one of the very first ones where I was like, holy shit, you know? But the Red Wedding, I'm gonna say that one because the whole Danny thing, that's just like a what the fuck is going on. The Red Wedding, we knew what was going on. We were right on track. And Hodor. Oh, that one was crazy. Oh, wait, now I have to choose. No, I don't have to choose between Hodor and the Red Wedding. Those were really crazy to me. The Red Wedding was absolutely insane to me. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to take out Cersei. I'm going to take out Danny because those are more of a shock in terms of like, you know, Danny was more of like, what the hell's going on? And Cersei was like, I wish it could have been better. But in actual shocking death, yes, Hodor, the Red Wedding, Ned. Those are it. And then the deaths that were most deserved. Oof. I need everybody to put names because I forget. Ramsay. That one's a good one. That one's a good one. That is the most deserved. I tested him. I did not like him. Oh, Littlefinger's a good one. Hell yeah, dude. Hate me, I don't care, but I liked Ramsay. In what world? In what way? In how? Hell no. Yeah, Ramsay, Littlefinger was awesome, dude. I wish I could go back and rewatch and feel all of the emotions that came with watching Littlefinger die. or like how that went down was awesome. Yes, so Ramsey. What else? What else? What else? I'm trying to think. Joffrey. Yeah, I mean Joffrey's well deserved. Yes. His yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, they did a really good job at um the creativity when it came to his body in his death. That was crazy. That was really well. I loved, yeah, that one, Joffrey, definitely. Um, what else? What else are we missing? What about Walder Frey? Walder Frey. Walder Frey. Wait, hold on. Okay, wait, hold on. On some of the older characters, you guys might have to tell me a little bit because I've only watched this once and I don't remember a lot of it. Not a lot of it, but some of it. Let me see. The fact we thought we knew evil until we met Ramsey, legitimately do. Also Joffrey. Joffrey's a pain in my ass. Or pain in all of our asses, I feel. Um what about Gregor Clegane? Dude, remember Arya killed him? Tyrion went out like a wild, very good at this shit. You how, dude? Have you guys watched the show numerous amount of times? Walder Frey equals Red Wedding guy. Dude, my hold on. Hold on. Before we even continue, because I want to make sure we know where this is at. Oh, I did not like him. I remember I'm starting to remember who he was. So interesting too because oh yeah. Wait. I remember. Oh, yes. That was well deserved, dude. Oh my god, he left us so suspicious, but right before the red wedding when he had everybody lined up. Do you guys remember that part? From that moment on, I was like, this motherfucker is about to do something, and I'm trying to, have the benefit of the doubt. But it going so bad to like the red wedding, and oh, that was horrible. Yes, very well deserved. Deserved. Sorry, my Spanish brain. Yeah, yeah. Tywin on the Tywin on the shitter. Yeah, I didn't like him either. He yeah. Not a main character, but that guy that Arya killed with needle in his neck. Which one? What about when Tyrion strangles Shay? No, that was a shocker. I'll put that in with the last question. I think Tyrion killing Shay was a shocker, but I also think Shay sleeping with I think that was a shocker too, so I can't say. But that was more of a death that shocked me, you know? So Walder was old anyway, though, but I'm glad Arya did it. Yeah. I also, again, this is why I wanted to see more of, or I wanted to feel more of a satisfaction if Arya had killed Cersei, just because of, I mean, her way about killing people is like, girl, this is art. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit. That was great. Yeah, so like the way the way that he killed him, I wanted to see a little bit of that being used on Cersei, which is, just really needed that. You know? Nah, she was acting the whole time? What do you mean? What do you mean? You're gonna die for some chickens? Someone is. Nah, she did my boy Tyrion dirty. No, she did. She did. Yeah, obviously she did. But I was still shocked of how he killed her. That was crazy. By the way, Shay betraying Tyrion when Tyrion did his little speech on trial. Dude, especially that, especially with how good that speech was. Whatever. Could you imagine the shock on Cersei's face to see Arya, the little girl that went missing, that was presumed dead after killing Ned, to just be there as a grown woman about to assassinate her? Yeah, but I think, like, hold on. I think I would have loved to see it more creatively, like for it to not to for it to turn out more creatively, as in like, what if she like used Joffrey's mask or something? Like, what if she did something like that where it kind of like Cersei's like, it makes Cersei feel the way that she's made other people feel. And it's like, she's like, oh my, like blah, 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 blah. And then at the end, Arya's like, just kidding, just kidding. And then she goes like a really creative way of killing her. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been so cool. Like, that would have been so good. Like, she shows up as Joffrey or something, and she stirs up this immense emotion in Cersei, because this is what she did to so many people. Or Cersei's daughter, literally, like anyone that could have like made her feel that way. And obviously it would have been her children. And then right like at some like just like a good point, she like takes off the mask and she's basically like, hey, to me, I'm alive, I feel like that would have been just like just so good. I feel like that's like the best I can think of right now, but something like that would have been so sick. Okay, let's head on to the next question. Okay. The next question is from Logan Wojtal. Myrcella didn't deserve to die, in my opinion. Ilaria deserved it because of the pity war between her husband getting killed by the Lannisters, and her selfish need to punish Cersei. I can't blame Cersei for wanting revenge, just like I don't blame Ilaria for doing the same with her husband. But killing a child/teenager, I don't condone her actions. Pity war between her husband getting killed. Hold on. Let me rewind my brain for that, just so I can clearly. Okay. Okay. I had an idea, but I know now. Okay, Myrcella didn't deserve to die, in my opinion. Ilaria deserved. I don't think she deserves to die either. I'm gonna give that. The whole thing that Cersei did, and the whole thing just kind of crashing down with all the bombs and all that. Yeah. In my opinion, Ilaria deserved it because of the pity war between her husband getting killed by the Lannisters and her selfish need to punish Cersei. That I do. I think when that whole thing was kind of going back and forth, and Cersei did that poison thing, there was a part of me, which I think I did speak about in some of those episodes, where I was like, Cersei poisoned. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Ilaria was the one. Hold on, am I getting mixed up? Hold on. I need to backtrack my brain before I even do anything. Arya showing up as Myrcella would have been epic, right? Wouldn't that have been so sick? I feel like that would have been so good. Hold on. I'm thinking. Oh. Okay. I got it. Okay. When Ilaria poisoned Myrcella, I was like, what the fuck? Like, this really, like you could have done something different. So, but there's a portion in those episodes, or in that episode, where Cersei finally had the upper hand basically on Ilaria. It was, I feel like I did speak about it in the episode, but I was like, as much as I feel towards Cersei and just being like, I really can't stand her because of what Ilaria did to Myrcella. When Cersei held that upper hand with Ilaria, I was like, good for you, because why the would you punish a little girl, just or like, why would you do that to her in order, like, I think it was just like that balance that just wasn't there. So I honestly do think I remember basically being like, good that Cersei had that portion where she had that power over Ilaria, because I feel like it was needed, and she needed a good like snap back to reality. Like that's so yes. Shay only took up with Tywin after Tyrion told her to get lost, but what happened was she reverted to Book Shay, who was only there for the money. Um oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, okay. I see what you're saying. Uh okay, I was reading a comment, but I don't think that was disregard my first okay, I was doing that. I feel like that had nothing to do with the with the show. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. The next one is by Craxus. And they said pick one scene. Oh, dang it. I hate when you guys make me pick or choose. Pick one scene or episode from the entire series that evoked the strongest for each of these emotions slash reactions for you. Anger, sadness, surprise, what the disbelief, happiness, laughter. Dude, brother. Okay. That is so hard. I was like vaguely remembering even some of the characters that you guys were bringing up. I have to rewind my brain back to that. Okay. I'm going to try my best here. Each of these emotions, anger, I'm going to say the second to last episode. I feel like I was most upset at that. Like I legitimately was just like, I feel like I needed to rant because what the hell is happening? Get that in. Sadness. Ooh, sadness. Um, the first thing that popped in my mind was Hodor. That one was shocking, but it was like, I mean, he spent like that was his life. That was his entire life. Like he was just like living. He was living. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say robotically. Um, hold on. Let me see if I can find the word. I don't know. He was just I don't know. I feel like he was just like he I don't know. I feel like he was just spectating inside of a shell of what was to be, you know? But okay, Hodor is the first one that I think of when it comes to sadness. I'm trying to think of what else. The Red Wedding was awfully sad. Like that one was heartbreaking, especially because we had Rob, and then we knew about the child, and we had that whole small scene where it was like the most heartwarming thing ever and then gone, you know? So Red Wedding is red I think Red Wedding is the most the yes. I'm going to say Red Wedding for sadness. Um oh shit. There's just a lot. There's a lot of sadness in the show. But Hodor is just like, oh my goodness. Okay. Surprise. Um surprise? Eh, is it like a is okay, that evoked that emotion the most. So it doesn't have to be like a happy surprise or like a, angry surprise. The biggest surprise. Dude, I'm trying to think. Like the one that I can think of is the second to last episode. The whole Danny thing that happened is just that, and the WTF disbelief, same thing. Like that's a surprise. That's a fuck moment. Like I feel like those kind of land there, to be honest. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. You know what? I could also say for the surprise. Ooh. You know what I could say for the surprise where I could legitimately wish my heart rate was on the screen? was when they were waiting for when basically the war was about to happen between humans and the Night Walker or the White Walkers. I think that was a really big one. My heart was going. I think I was, and this isn't more of like a surprise, like, oh my God, what happened or what just happened. It's more of a surprise, like anticipation. Like the intensity in that episode was crazy to me. Like I would legitimately was like, I have no idea what to expect. Everything's about to go down. Uh, the way they went about it, all the swords on fire, and then everything goes black. You can't even see what's in front. Then they come back. Like there was just so much intensity in that episode. I'm gonna give the surprise to that one and the WTF disbelief to the second to last episode. I'm gonna do that one. Um, yeah, I'm gonna do that one. Happiness, and then laughter. Dude, I honestly feel like I. Ooh, I don't know if this is a good thing. The happiness? I don't think this. Okay, wait. This is a different kind of happiness. The thing that popped up was Littlefinger. When that happened, I was like, I was happy because the way that went down was awesome. I didn't expect it, but I was like, I think that one was really, I think that one could be a little bit of happiness. Cause I was just like, I wish I could like rewatch that for the first time type of thing. And yeah, it was satisfying. Like it was just crazy. What's another happiness? I'm trying to think of like an actual happy, which I honestly, if I'm going to go for like a happy, I would honestly think about Sam. I feel like Sam is a character that you can really be happy with in his life, like when good things happen to him. So like him having the baby maybe or something like that. I just feel like Sam evokes a lot of happiness in me, I guess you could say. Oh, Jon Snow's resurrection. That too. I was really happy with that. Yep. Yeah. I feel like Jon Snow gave me a lot of happy feelings in most of the stuff. But and the reason why is because a lot of his decision making was very justified for me and some of the things that he did. So I was just like, yeah, I feel like yeah, a lot of happiness from him. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. Laughter. Hmm. Oh, wait. I go back to happiness. Go back to happiness. Um, I will say, I will say with happiness when Jamie, what did he do? He anointed Bree, right? Is it anointed? What's the word I'm looking for? What is that I'm looking for? When they were all together. That that was that was happiness for me. I'm gonna say that knighted. Yes, thank you so much. When he knighted Brie, I think that was. I mean, I was crying like because it was such an incredible moment. I'm gonna give it to that one. Which is see, this is what yeah. I'm gonna give it to that one. That was one of the scenes where I was just like, my heart couldn't be warmer. Like it was really, I really loved it. Okay. I'm gonna give it to that one. Laughter. Um, laughter, man. For laughter, honestly, it could just go to every scene with Tormund. Uh, Steph definitely skipped my comment on the question list. We basically discussed it throughout the whole stream. Oh, really? No way. Okay. Um, Laughter, man. I'm trying to think of any like funny thing. Some funny scenes with Jon Snow and his wildling lover. Oh, that was good. Yeah. Um, for laughter, honestly. Oh, sorry, I read that. Didn't Pod start singing that episode? Yes, he did. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't know about laughter. I feel like laughter in the show was more of like smaller moments in the show. It wasn't like a big ordeal how we could give it to the other ones or the other emotions. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's like I think that's a hard one to kind of choose from. And I'm trying to think of like a moment where I like laughed intensely, I guess you could say, or like, but I vaguely remember like the first half of the show. So I'm trying is what I'm doing. Tyrion had a lot of funny lines. Yeah, I feel like Tyrion did. And he was also very witty. So I just I don't know. I this one I can't do because I feel like this show had more of like small moments that were funny and like lines and things like that. So I don't think I can give something to the laughter. I think it's just those small moments. So yeah, I'll say that. Um okay. Next one. Okay, we have our next question, and this is by how we see. I think after this was the habits one. Habits, are you sure you don't want me to read it? I'm just making sure because then this will be our last question, and this was how we see. And they asked any characters that in the beginning you did not expect to like or root for, and then ended up cheering for them. Oh yeah, Jamie. Exactly what we're talking about. Jamie was one. I did not like him in the beginning. I don't remember liking him in the beginning. I'm gonna say him. Um, Theon, brother. Theon was crazy. Yeah, Theon's a really big one because I really disliked Theon. Uh, we didn't really. I feel like we heard a lot more about Theon during that like hatred phase. So then we got that character development. I feel like his character development hit a lot. So definitely Theon. Jamie was one of them. Um, one that I didn't like in the beginning and then ended up cheering for them. I'm the Red Woman is a small one because I feel like she redeemed herself. But it wasn't like that big of in-depth thing like we had Theon and Jamie, but I will say her. Um what else? I'm trying to think of somebody else. I feel like I wasn't too fond of the Hound in the beginning. I'm gonna say that. I wasn't too fond of him. We didn't really have a lot of detail. I feel like obviously he wasn't like a really huge main character throughout the series until like, the second half. So I will say that I guess I could say him a bit. Ricardo, thank you for welcome to the Stepharoos. Thank you for joining. Sansa's a good one. I did not like Sansa in the beginning. Goodness. Sansa as a child, I was like, girl, you know what I'm saying? And and I remember like as she started growing up, I was just like, I feel like I said this so many times throughout the reactions watching the beginning or like even watching the show itself. I was like, Sansa needs to step into her power. Like she can do this. Like she can be up there, man. She can hold a lot of power. She needs to step into her character. But this is more when I started, having more of a liking towards her. So yeah, Sansa's another one. Uh do you have liners for teeth on? I have Invisalign, but I'm not wearing it right now. But you can probably see the little buttons. If that's what you mean, I don't know. But yeah, Sansa was one. Um that I ended up rooting for that I didn't expect to like. I'm trying to think if there was somebody else. Jamie, I mean, I already said Jamie, but yeah, definitely that. Um, Bran, but in reverse. I love the scenes when Arya and the Hound were traveling around together. Yeah, me too. I'm trying to think. I think those are the ones that I can think about. What else did I? I'm trying to think of who else I probably wasn't really fond of until we got to like know them well enough. Viserys. Um, I know who he is, but I'm trying to get his name right because I know you guys had said it differently. Yes, Lord Varys. Uh, yes, him as well. Yeah. Obviously, I feel like there's like bigger characters that I feel that way towards, but he's also one of them. Especially when Tyrion watched Dany basically fucking burn him. Um, that was that was sad. I think also when it came to Lord Varys, we I feel like we just had to get to know him a lot more and why he would do the things that he would do. And I feel like towards the second half of the show, we finally caught more of a glimpse on that, and which is why we come to more of a an understanding and likeness to him, to his character. And it really made sense to what he was doing, especially when he was going face to face with Littlefinger, you know? So yes, I think he's definitely one of them. Um what else? Jorah's dedication to Dany, he started out super shady. He did start out shady. I wouldn't I wouldn't really say that like I didn't really like him from the beginning and then ended up cheering for them. Just because I don't feel like he was a character that was really like in the story itself in the beginning, if that makes sense. So, and I feel like his character came to a more um important discussion or like important bases when he uh really became loyal to Dany, if that makes sense. Like we got to know Jorah a lot more, and his character when that happened. So it's kind of difficult to me for me to say, because when you don't really know someone that well in the beginning, it's really hard to say like, oh, I didn't like them, because I can't really tell you like, oh, I remember in the beginning when we met Jorah and like that first half, I didn't like him because I don't think I really had like an initiative. I'm sorry, I didn't have an upfront feeling towards his character until he became loyal to Dany. And I was like, oh my God, he was shady and da 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 and so on. So I think that's what it was. I think that's why it's hard for me to be like, oh, I didn't like him in the beginning, because I don't really think I had that much of a an emotion towards him. Especially, I do have to say this. It's very important that I do rewatch it, like rewatch the show, because thinking back to my first watch and feeling this way, I also won't gain a lot of emotion towards certain characters because it took me a while to kind of catch up to the story itself and the information that was kind of being thrown when I did start the show, if that makes sense. So that's also an important thing to kind of like annotate. Um, because maybe people who have rewatched the show could be like, oh no, Jorah was like, how do you not remember Jorah and da 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 da, and you only remember him when he was loyal to Dany? Because that could be it. I don't know. I don't remember. Um, but my brain only like I like that's just how my brain works. Like I need to be able to understand fully what's going on in order to kind of indulge myself in what's happening and who's there. So yeah, I'm gonna give that. Uh, when Littlefinger and Varys were having a de-measuring contest every time, I love the scene of dialogue. Also, the scene with Tyrion and Lady Olenna. Or to be honest, when the smart ones were challenging each other, like Tyrion too. That one was a good favorite season. And why is it season 6? I honestly don't know my favorite season. I really do want to rewatch the show though, so I can have like I really just want to rewatch it. I feel like there's so much, honestly, in my mind that I feel like I missed. But again, I think it has to do because as a first time watch, there's just a lot of things that I feel like flew over my head, because the way that my brain works is that I need to be able to understand something. It's like my brain wants to be at the finish line in order to know the journey. You know what I'm saying? So not the finish line, but I need to know the journey in order to start the beginning. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know, but I feel like I really do want to rewatch it just to like thoroughly understand everything that was going on in the first few episodes, and maybe like first, second season, maybe third, I don't know, to where I didn't fully grasp the characters and everything that was going on, because there was just like so much being thrown. Um, he switched up the second he actually got to her and laid eyes on her. Yeah, and also the fact that, the dragons. That's crazy. Um, oh, babe. It's like if Ramsay became a good guy, that would have been one hell of an arc. Yeah, but I feel like we got Theon for that kind of character arc. Ramsay was just a piece of shit, so let's leave that there. And so was Joffrey, so we got that there too. I think we've got enough of those characters. Okay, the older seasons are the best when you fully understand it. Later seasons are just visually cool to see. Uh, Battle of the Bastards and the Winds of Winter are my favorite episodes by far. The one where Jon went basically solo against an army, LMAO, and then the opening of Winds of Winter when Cersei destroyed King's Landing with wildfire. Destroyed King's Landing with wildfire. The music in that episode was so good. Yeah, what is your guys' favorite episode? Actually, I'd love to know that. Early seasons were written better, but season 6 is where storylines came together, and it was at the height of the show's popularity too. Yeah. Oh, the only thing that sucks is that like when something kind of when something's coming together, that should be like the most important thing to be written, because that is what kind of makes the rest of the journey like important. Like, where do we go from here? Like, where are we coming to, you know? I don't know. Favorite relationship, and why is it Brie and Jamie? Because they had a freaking slow burn, and they pulled things out of each other to make them a better like they pulled things from each other's from who they were. They made each other a better person. Does that make sense? I liked, but I really like that one. I don't know, relationship wise. I would have to think about that one. I wonder if Steph knows there was a pilot of the first season shot with a completely different actress playing Danny. Also, the actress who played Danny suffered 2 brain strokes in the early season, and we almost lost her. I did know about Danny suffering the 2 brain strokes, but I believe she wanted to continue filming, right? And then I did not know that there was someone else that played Danny. I did not know that. I think the final battle with the White Walkers was my favorite episode. I was thinking of that. I was thinking, so when you guys were mentioning the favorite episode, I was thinking about the battle. Just cuz it was like so good. I like the way I felt in that episode and how intense it was really good. I really liked it. Okay. Oh, I forgot to wait. Habits, did you end up saying if I could? Oh, you can if you want, but you pretty much have your thoughts on it. Okay, gotcha. Oh, gave my thoughts on it. Okay, got it. Watching Jorah defend Danny at the end hit home. He was there for her to the very end, getting stabbed and still standing up. He died defending the women he loved and protected. Yes. That was also rough. Like, it was heartbreaking. I remember how I felt in that scene, and it was just like heartbreaking. But yeah, definitely admirable. Because he really did it to the end, man. So I'm so surprised Samuel didn't die, to be honest. Wait, yeah. I honestly got scared that he was gonna die. There was a small scene when I believe this was with the final battle with the White Walkers, and there was a scene. I just remember him being like kind of laid back with like blood on his face, and I was already crying at that point, but I remember feeling like, oh shit, they're about to cut him off. Like, they're about to cut his character loose. He's gone. But it's something that's like, it can be easily like, it can be, you can accept it, because he wasn't really like a fighter for like a physical fighter for the most part in his character. So yeah. There were so many times I thought he was going to die. Yeah, like I feel like he's a character you can look at and be like, "Oh shit, he's going to die," and then he doesn't. You're like, "Okay." But I definitely had that feeling in the war. I mean, in that battle. Um. Okay. That scene when Arya was sneaking around the army of the dead in the crypts, it felt like The Last of Us. LMAO. Mm-hmm. Also, I thought that I was honestly like also scared that she was gonna die when oh, I just remembered what you were talking about. I was trying to remember. I think I was thinking of a different scene, but I know exactly what you're talking about now. When she was like under the table, and then the White Walker like looks under the table. I remember that really did feel like The Last of Us. And the reason why I thought of that is because during that same episode, I thought she was gonna die. Honestly, so I don't know. Also, how did the giant not have a massive sword in the Battle of the Bastards? That would have been crazy, right? Like if he was like if they had made a weapon for him, I think that would have been so I feel like that would have had such a huge benefit to to like he could just go like this. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like, you know? But then the White Walker thing, then he would have the sword and that would have not been good. So I don't know. Anyway, okay. So habits, I know you said that the last one, I know we kind of went about it. So I guess that was the ending of our questions. Um is there anything else that you guys want to specifically anonymous user, anonymous gifter? Thank you so much for gifting 10 subs. Can we get a W in the chat? Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Yay. Um I know that would be crazy if a giant had a weapon. Thank you so much. Um but yeah, that's kind of like my thoughts on the ending, like most of the endings for the characters in the show. And it's the end of an era. It definitely is. That I'm really glad we watched this show. It was honestly, I was really scared. I mean, I know you guys know how hesitant I was in watching the show, but I really really thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I want to rewatch it. I think the show was incredible. Obviously, coming towards the ending was a rough, but I definitely would want to rewatch it. The I think the only thing is that let's say I rewatch it and come towards like the end seasons, I'm just gonna be really like, "Ugh, do I really want to go there?" Like I don't know if I'd really want to rewatch how it ends again. So do I really want to feel all that turmoil? I don't know about that. I don't know about the turmoil. Uh, but yeah, now that I watched it, how do you feel? Everything that I've basically spoke about in all of these questions. But I am really glad that we watched it. I know that I was hesitant, I was scared. There's a lot of things in the show that I probably wouldn't have been fond of, wasn't fond of, whatever. But they really did a great job at kind of really focusing on the story and the characters. And this show really had a lot of diversity when it came to the characters and how different things can go, which I don't feel like a show that I've watched personally has made me feel so much in so many different characters. And the reason why I'm saying that is specifically when I think about like Theon, the hatred that I or like that like deep like upsetness or like hatred that I felt with like Joffrey, Ramsay, things that were kind of occurring in the show. There's just so much, and I feel like this show did such a good job at like making you really feel like you're in the like you're really there, like you're really in the moment. You really feel this way about these characters. Like I don't think I've felt such intense emotion towards characters and things that were going on. So and this is coming from a person who really goes through an emotional roller coaster watching absolutely everything. So this show really had a beautiful way of going about the characters, the way things went down. the twists that were in the midst of the show, not really the ending because of the writing, but the twist that, you know, like the red wedding, things like that, that was the journey really made it, like really made the show, I feel. So I really enjoyed it. It was great. It was incredible. And I would really love to rewatch it. So um can I ask how long it took you to watch it? Like how many months? Did you take breaks in between episodes or seasons? I think Havits would probably know that about how long it took for me to watch it. I don't know how many months, and the breaks in between episodes or seasons would be the rest of the stuff that I watch for you guys. So anything in between Game of Thrones is what I was kind of taking breaks, I guess you could say. So it just depends everything else that I was watching during that time. Those would technically be the breaks. It wasn't like a consecutive watch the entire show all at once without anything like intervening, right? You know what I'm saying. But yeah. Thanks, Steph. Great recap and responses. The show garnered great emotions. Just a shame they didn't wrap it all up the way we and the characters all deserved. I agree. We have rewatched it now with you. Can't wait for AI to be so good people can rewrite Game of Thrones so it has a good ending. Imagine, that'd be so cool. That'd be so crazy. We need I want it to be like realistically, like with actors, and like it would be really cool to have like the original cast playing it. I think we would all be even more satisfied, you know? Like the actual cast coming back and redoing that. I think that'd be so cool. GOT remains my favorite show of all time, even if I was let down by the ending. House of the Dragon season 1 really captured that prime Game of Thrones feeling at its best. Ooh, I'm excited to start House of Dragon now that you guys are kind of saying a little bit about it, and I'm just like, this is gonna be good. Thank you, Steph. Found you on YouTube with MCU, then caught up on Game of Thrones, etc. Now joined on Twitch. Love your reactions and personality. Thank you so much, Eric. And thanks so much for being here. Oh, Habit says it took 1 year and 6 months to get through it all. And that's like the mist of everything else that we were watching. So I wonder how fast I could rewatch it if it was just that on the side besides, you know, everything else. You know what I'm saying? House of Dragon is really intense. Awesome. Okay. All right, guys. These are the final of the questions. We got through all of it. We got through the show. We've discussed everything. I know that once this Q&A discussion thing, when this drops on YouTube, I'm sure everyone's going to be in the comments going at it, and I'm going to be reading all of those. I really want to see what you guys are saying, especially those of you who have rewatched it. So, you know, there's a lot of that. But wow, dude, we really finished Game of Thrones. That's so crazy to me. I remember feeling like this when we watched the last episode. And it was just crazy to think about that we really finished the show. Like, we're really here now, you know? I just remember the beginning where you guys always talked about Game of Thrones, and like you guys recommended it to me, and I was always very hesitant towards it. Even when we started, like everything that was going on in the show, you know, and even then it was like kind of hard to follow along in the very beginning, and now we're just here. So that's kind of crazy. Oh, okay. Well, crazy. This was awesome. Time really did fly by. It's insane. But anyway, thank you so much for everyone who came on, who followed me along this Game of Thrones journey and this Q&A discussion. I really love to have these discussions. Just because I really love to know what you guys think about a lot of the things that we watch, especially if you guys have rewatched the things that I first time watch, if that makes sense. So, now Steph is going to hit us with a Kais and an inspirational message at the end of the journey. Cue the music. Oh, it's funny. But yeah, this was awesome. And I just want to say to everyone who's been here so far, because a year and 6 months, that's a lot of time to fly by. So I just want to thank you everyone for coming on this stream and having this discussion with me, and, you know, writing down your comments and everything, and just so like I learn a bit more about everything that we've just watched. And also for just like being supportive thus far. I know it's been such a, like, I feel personally it's been such a short amount of time that I've been in like the reaction space, and I feel like I've gone, I'm not gonna cry. Now it is the speech thing. Even with like starting the reaction space and it being even if it feeling like such a short amount of time, I feel like I have gone through like the worst experiences of my life throughout starting the reaction channel. And I don't mean that because of the reaction channel, I just mean that in my own personal life. So, and a lot of like my own personal life has to do a lot of with how I am emotionally and accepting of who I am and how I feel about things and how I am as a person, and that's been very difficult. So the reaction space, see, now I am crying. Damn it, guys. Anyway, I'm gonna finish it. Hold on, let me just suck it up. And it being the reaction space, and the reaction space being like a really big factor of portraying like who I am and how I feel about things and who I am as a person, and, you know, all of that stuff. And seeing like how supportive you guys are is a crazy mix. Hold on. I'm gonna suck it up, dude. I'm gonna hold it in. Sorry, and those the two things kind of clashing at the same time, with the reaction space, or like starting the reaction space, and then also the things in my life, I feel like is such a crazy, ironic, and just a crazy turnout of events that's all occurring in the same time frame in my life. So anyway, sucking it up. I just want to say thank you guys, and I appreciate you guys so much, and I can't wait to continue watching so many different things. I'm so excited, and I also want to thank you guys for like the patience that you guys have had, especially with like Patreon, YouTube, Twitch, just because my life has been all over the place, and I know that there's a lot of patience to be had with me, especially because of how I am, and, you know, taking some time emotionally away from all of it. So I just appreciate you guys for having that patience. And anyway, so yeah, thanks so much for being here. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. And I will see you guys for the next reaction that we're in. And I will be there for the Spider-Man No Way Home reaction because I'm so excited to see it when it drops on YouTube. Thank you, Habits. Habits has been such an important friend in my life, and just in general, just a great part of the team. Like, we're just, there's so much. Anyway, love you guys. I'm gonna go cry.